My name is Cass, and I play Ophelia on Oblivion, a Star Wars story. I'm going to get you guys up to speed, but first, I want to remind you that the best way to keep up with the campaign is to subscribe to the channel. So, let's get started. Previously on Oblivion, a Star Wars story. So, this guy named Hondo leveraged us into stealing some weapons for him from a secure compound. After infiltrating, Narsor lost his cool, and everything started going wrong. Now, there's a kid running around what is essentially a battlefield, and to make matters worse, an Inquisitor has shown up. With all of these plot twists, there's no telling what's next.
And we're back finally with another
Yeah.
episode of Oblivion, a Star Wars story. Oh my god, it's been 2 months. And Jelmore's back for the first official episode. Yeah. So, focus. Alright, so.
I have the attention span of a goldfish on
Focus!
crack.
Alright, so
not
the two
focused.
most important people to this entire thing aren't here, and I'm gonna have to kind of, most important in that, when we last left off, Jack and Dobrax were fighting over who gets to hold the lightsaber as as Narsor got thrown out of the wall, followed by an Inquisitor who ignited their double-bladed lightsaber, and Dobrax wanted to feel cool, and Jack let him borrow the lightsaber, and so now Dobrax is holding the lightsaber like, yeah, I feel cool now. And then the Inquisitors stepped out, and Jack was like, give it back. Give it back now. Give me back the lightsaber. And Dobrax is like, no, I want this.
Over.
But like, he said it all in Jawa. He said it all in Jawa. He was like,
Houdini! Suga!
Houdini, Houdini, Houdini.
Keep quiet.
Suga! 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 Anyways, no. Okay, so, I'm gonna have to,
a lot of editing.
not editing, but, I'm gonna have to, take some creative liberty here and blame the fact that I'm controlling their characters on them. But I'll try and be minimal with things. But, for the most part, I think it's just, Narsor, you just got thrown through a wall via the Force. You got Force blasted through a wall. Also, I want to try and see what is going on here, because B1, Narsor, and Ophelia, you guys are all in the compound. Jelmore, I have a plan for what you're doing.
Okay.
And we'll get to that later on. But what's the news on the kid? Because I know I talked to you, Ophelia, kind of intermittently between last session and now, and you were like, no, I do not want to adopt the child, as it were. And no. But I know Narsor, Dobrax, and Jack, I think Jack too, were all like, this child is ours now. We protect this child. Or at least Narsor was. I think I heard Dobrax and Jack agreeing.
If Narsor actually wants to adopt him or just wants to eat him as a snack, but...
Hey, Narsor has a brain. He can identify.
It's about the size of a pea.
Hey, listen, that's still bigger than yours.
Yeah, listen, mate, Narsor, my main man, Mister, I'm going to carry somebody with my mouth and my good arm. I need you to sit down, my boy. So let's not talk about that. Okay.
Hey, listen, if it works, it works.
Hey, listen, shoe fits. So, are you going? Okay. Here is the current situation. Narsar, you just got chucked out of a wall, and Ophelia, B1, and technically Dobrax and Jack are all looking down the hallway with the kid next to them, like in between all of them, looking at this Inquisitor who just ignited his lightsabers. So, my question is this: what will you do? Um, let's start with Ophelia. What are your initial thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, okay, so we're inside, and where is the kid? Like out? The
He's
kid ran
not
out.
he's not out and about. He's just you guys are kind of in a hallway between well, the hallway
Yeah.
is the in between two rooms, but he's kind of standing out in the middle of the hallway from where you guys kind of scooted him to the side in order to shoot slash force blast some stormtroopers last time.
Okay.
So
So he's just sort
he's
of
just
like,
standing there looking at the giant glow sticks,
aha.
which
So Ophelia just does not want this kid to get hurt. She doesn't want to adopt him. Like, that's not going through her mind. But she does not want this kid to get hurt. So, if I'm not mistaken, the hallway that we're in is not far from that daycare room, correct?
correct.
So, if Ophelia can safely do so, she's going to reach for the kid to just sort of take his wrist or his hand and lead him back toward the daycare center.
Okay, the kid is putting up a little bit of like resistance, but as you do this, the Inquisitor is coming for you because Narsor is still prone, like recovering from the shock of literally being thrown through a wall. So, or if you will, un-Kool-Aid man. Um, so, so
Kool-Aid man.
you Kool-Aid manned into the room, and then you got un-Kool-Aid manned and thrown back out. So, um,
Okay.
what is your
So,
reaction, B1? So Ophelia's trying to put the kid back in the room. The Inquisitor's coming for you. What are you gonna do?
How close am I to the Inquisitor?
Um, maybe a good. He's closing in 25 to 20 feet. Like he's coming at you rather quickly now.
Okay. Where is Jack?
Jack is very close to you. He's standing right next to Narsor, and they currently have both hands like Jack is
Brax?
holding one. Yeah, with not holding hands with Dobrax, but Jack has his hands on one end of the lightsaber, kind of pulling on it, while Dobrax has his hands on the other end, like give it to me, no, give it to me, no, give it to me.
It's
Kind
Jack's
of,
lightsaber, right?
it is Jack's lightsaber.
I'm gonna try and convince Dobrax to let go of the lightsaber.
Oh jeez, I don't know what I'm gonna have to roll a flat charisma for this boy because I don't know what his stats are. Um. Oh. Okay.
I feel like his
Okay.
charisma is probably low considering how nervous he always is.
Okay. B1, I do have to ask, what is your reaction on the red lightsaber? Like, do you register that as an enemy? Do you register that as a friend? Because, I mean,
I don't think B1 would have anything programmed for lightsabers in particular.
right.
He just knows that this is enemy.
Oh, okay. Good. Cool. All right. Go ahead and roll plus charm in order to try and convince Dobrax that he
The
should
thing
let go
the
of
thing
the
you have to know
lightsaber.
with B1 is that he's still in one piece, so he's never met another Jedi,
Oh,
if
yeah.
that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. It just occurred to me that I could have NPCs quite literally slice you apart and you'd still be alive.
All right, 10.
All right. Yes, 10. So I'm going to go ahead and contest that with do 8. Okay. So on actually no, there was no contesting roll. Okay, on a 10
Thing
plus,
is
if
that's
they
better
do
than
what you
improve normally.
ask, they mark 1 experience and get +1 forward. How do you ask him to let go? Do you push him out of the way? Do you kind of just tell him to let go? Like, give me some kind of dialogue here to some extent.
Sir, please return the scrap.
Okay. Um,
Please return the shiny.
return the shiny.
Please return the shiny, sir.
Okay. He's going to do what you ask. Let's see. They mark experience and +1 forward. So, I'm gonna message him +1 EXP for Dobrex. All right. Okay, so he lets go, and Jack now has the lightsaber. And I'm gonna say that Jack ignites the lightsaber, and begins to kind of wave it around, unsure of what he's doing. Like he's trained a little bit, but
It's also a tiny ass Jawa.
He is a tiny ass Jawa, but he's never fought. He's never fought another saber wielder, let alone an inquisitor. Okay, so Jack starts to try and swing his saber at the inquisitor, and the inquisitor parries it and kind of shoulder check / force pushes him into the wall, and he flies back a little bit and hits the wall, stunned and kind of in a daze, and he kind of sags a little bit as he's not knocked unconscious, he's just dazed. Narsor, you just got thrown through a wall, and you pick yourself back up, and you see Jack get cup checked. You see the kid being like the Inquisitor just checked the Jawa and is still moving towards the kid and Ophelia. And you see Dobrax and Jack kind of out of the way as the Inquisitor moves forward. What do you do?
So to get this straight, Narsor watched the Inquisitor deck the Jawa out of the way, and he is just bearing down on Ophelia and the small child.
Not necessarily barreling down, but yeah, moving in on.
Same difference to Narsor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, how far away is he from Ophelia and the child?
10-15 feet away from him. It's kind of hard for Ophelia to transport child, since child is slightly resisting and is also entranced by big glow sticks of death.
Narsor is furious.
Oh, that's never good.
To start with, this fucker just had the audacity to huck him through the hole he just made in a wall. Basically toss his friend to the side like trash, and is walking to probably harm another friend and a small child. He is furious.
I see. And
Mad
what do you intend to do about that?
I want to use the Force. This is gonna be weird, a little weird, but I want to use the Force to literally yank him right towards me.
Okay, so force pull. Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll plus weird, and I'm going to make a contesting weird roll.
14?
Not even close. 7. All right. So you rolled a 14 against my 7. So here's what happens. You harness something within you and reach out with your hand and make a grabbing motion, and you just yank your fist back towards you as you feel as though you're gripping onto some invisible thing. It feels like you're grabbing like a stress ball, a giant stress ball, and yanking it back towards you. And the Inquisitor feels it, turns around, and turns themselves around um, just in time to have you pull them back, and they bring their lightsaber up in a slashing motion, and they cut at you for. I tell you what, I'll give you a chance to save it. I'll knock off, just because the difference was so great between the two of you, I will knock off 1 point of harm and say that he kind of missed because you were pulling him. And I'll give you a chance to reduce the damage even more by rolling a plus cool roll to see how fast you can dodge it.
I can do cool. Not really, but it's better.
But it's better than nothing. So currently it's -5.
9.
9. Okay, I'll let you reduce it by another one. So
Another one.
another one.
Another one.
3. So 3. You take 3 harm.
Math.
3 harm. 3 harm. So the Inquisitor comes by you and slices with his lightsaber. Wait, no. Okay. So we're gonna rewind all the way back to where you pull. 14 to 7. You pull on him. He comes flying back. He sees you, and he deactivates his lightsaber, and as he lands in front of you, you hear
I was asking how tall he was. So.
okay, yeah, the 6'1" alien lands in front of you, and as the Inquisitor is pulled towards you, he deactivates his lightsabers, and as he lands in front of you, he moves forward and touches his fingers to your forehead, and you hear.
I see your powers have grown. Very, very impressive.
Oh.
And Narsor, you find yourself in a crystalline room. It appears to be a mirrored box. That where you are, the mirrors are the walls, ceiling, and floor, and you are standing in the middle of it, in front of this alien this Inquisitor who is now just standing in front of you. He hasn't touched your head or anything. He's just there. What do you do?
The Inquisitor is just standing in front of me.
Yeah.
Narsor's gonna pull his big sword out off of his back hip. I can't remember where I put it. He's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
draw his
the back, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's the back. Yeah, he's gonna pull it off his back and he's gonna like level it at him.
No, there's no need for that.
And he waves his hand, and your sword disappears from your hands.
And he what?
He waves his hand across, kind of like there's a ball on the table. Magician moves his hand across the ball, and the ball disappears. Type deal.
He does the
Wave
these are
of
not the droids you're looking for.
these
kind
are
of
not the
thing.
droids. Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for gesture, and your sword vanishes from your hands.
Narsor just like recoils for a split second before reeling his left. Like he would hold his sword in his right hand, but so he just recoils for a second, like looking at his right hand before he reels his left fist back and just goes in for the punch.
That is also unnecessary.
And he puts his hand up and catches your fist with little to no effort. And he looks at you and says,
Your power has grown since the training exercise, shall we call it, at the compound. I must say, you are quite deadly with your sword, even against the Empire's rather skilled stormtroopers. You should not be left in confined spaces unattended.
And he pushes your fist back, and you're just standing there now, no sword, in front of this Inquisitor who has stopped your punches and disarmed you. What are you thinking? What are you gonna do?
This isn't. If Narsa was furious before, but he's getting even more infuriated.
Okay.
He doesn't. It isn't quite clicking with him that whatever this could be, all he knows is that this person was a threat. But I guess things are shifting a little in his brain because he's not acting like one
Right.
Narsor just he's gonna size up his opponent. Like, where are his what are the most dangerous parts, and what does he look capable
This
of?
sounds like a sharp roll.
This sounds like I'm stupid.
Roll plus sharp.
Hey,
Hey, look at
not
that.
too
That looks like a read a bad situation roll, and on a 7 to 9 you hold 1, which means you've got a best way in, or you can ask me, what's my best way in, out, let's see, are there any dangers I haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What is most vulnerable to me? And what is the best way to protect the victims?
I'm gonna do something a little unorthodox here. What's the best way to protect the victims if the victims is Ophelia and the child? That go through?
Roll plus cool. No, weird. Roll plus weird.
No. We screwed up there.
Hold on. No.
Alright.
A roll of 102 is not possible. Please re-roll. Thank you.
Forgot a little plus mark there. 12.
Hey, Ophelia, roll plus weird.
13.
Narsor, the best way to protect the victim, Ophelia and the child, is to get them as far away from the Inquisitor as possible. Because in your moment of calm, unorthodox behavior for Narsor, in this, okay, I've been stopped, my weapon's been taken away from me, what do I do in this place comprised of the Force? Essentially, you reach out beyond the mirrored walls of the box and you touch 5 Force-sensitive people. You feel the presence of 5 Force-sensitive people. You feel the Inquisitor, his presence looming in the box with you. You feel the presence of Dobrax and Jack. Dobrax, who is trying to help Jack back to his feet while also fumbling with the lightsaber, trying to figure out how it works. You feel the presence of Ophelia, and Ophelia, you and Narsor both feel the presence of the little child that is standing next to you.
Ooh.
The child is Force sensitive, and things have now gotten very complicated. Gelmore, you are back at Oblivion Base,
boy.
and you are there with Alphalis, who is the Lasat that you met, or technically you met in the earlier episodes, but I believe that was post your departure. But the Lasat looks at you after you enter from returning from a supply run, and he looks at you and says, "Well, I'm glad you're back. It appears that the away team hasn't called back. Some of them went out to a compound to try and get back a ship, I suppose, and then Ophelia and Dobrax just left here without much of a word other than they needed to borrow the spare speeder. So, we've put out a ping, and well, what we've gotten back isn't good. And he presses a button on the hollow table that's in the middle of the briefing room, and a image of a ORSF, which is the Outer Rim Security Front, the ORSF compound in the city of Falcon. An image pops up. You are familiar with this building, I believe. You have had to navigate your way in and out very sneakily in the past due to your questionable transactions um, of either information or weapons. Um, and so you nod along, and he says, "So the team got sent in there as part of a deal, and now they've gone dark."
All right, so I look at the face out sketch, whatever,
Mhm.
and I turn to the side and I say, "Where exactly did they enter?"
So that part is unknown. The last message we received from them was from Aura, who is I think she's the only one with her beacon still active. Let me check. And he presses a few buttons, and a just a thin line, a staticky line almost appears kind of off to the side, and he says, "Aura, Aura, can you hear me? Is this thing on?" And you hear a reply that yes, the thing is on, and um, that things have kind of gone sideways. The compound is now on lockdown, and uh, there's uh, there's quite a little bit of chaos going on. She just saw a couple of pirates run away with crates of what she assumed were weapons off into the streets, and she's saying that they haven't been backstabbed, but they have certainly been stabbed, and now Ophelia, Narsor, B1, Jack, and Dobrax are all trapped inside the compound. I'm not gonna try and do Aura's voice. I'm not going to try and do that.
So that was Aura.
That was Aura, yes.
All right.
In however you can imagine how she would say it, but like whatever. I'm not going to try and do an impersonation of Aura.
So you're dealing with pirates.
No, we're not dealing with pirates. We're uh it's a long and complicated story that I can fill you in on later, she says. And um she continues, "Just grab an away team and get over here. I don't or whatever men you can spare. They're locked in there and I don't know how to get them out."
All right. I'll see what I can do.
The transmission clicks off, and Alphalis looks at you and says, "All the others are still out on away missions. You're the only one."
What about you?
He gestures around the base and says, "Somebody's got to stay and watch the comms. I'd
Alright.
love to be out there with you, but I will not be able to attend this particular party."
So you're telling me we don't have a single man to spare?
Look, you decided that you were going to go hit up some of your contacts, okay? And the blasters that you brought back are much appreciated. I will not make light of that. However, food is also important, and so is medical supplies. And Steel Team and Wrecker Team are both out getting those things that we need. If your boys and girls are injured, then they're going to need both of those things. and somebody has to stay. So unless you want me to go, then fine, you can stay here and sit and listen to transmissions and monitor radios. Or you can go.
All right. Do we have a spare ship?
Yeah, the one that you just came in on, my man. That was not Alice. That was Sigma. That was Sigma to you, not Alice.
that
Like,
might be
No,
true.
I want
Like, he-
Alice to
he
be
just-
like, bruh.
he was like, bruh, bruh,
That's
you
all
just
he
came in
said.
on a ship.
Sorry, that was my Uber, that's not
Yeah,
mine.
that was an Uber. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, kiddo.
What, that junker out there? No, that's my Uber. He hasn't left yet. My space Uber.
Anyone here ever been to Uvu Javert?
Nah, I never been to Uvu Javert.
Javert. Oh my.
God.
Oh, no, I forgot about that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Alphalis nods and says, "All right, take the ship that you came in on, and actually, he punches in something, and a small holodisc kind of pops out. It's one of those miniature ones, and he hands it to you and says, "This contains some old city blueprints of the sewer system that runs around that compound. One of Steel Team used to be construction for the Empire while this particular sector of Falcon was being built, and he was able to get his hands on this. This is the sewer system that should, for all intents and purposes, be abandoned by now. Not sure, but it will provide, if you need an escape route, these run out in multiple places around the city. So by all means, you guys could escape through one of those, or you could enter through one of those. Entirely up to you." And he hands you the holodisc and says, "Any questions?"
Not as of right now.
Well, I will. He looks at his device on his wrist and says, "I'll send Wrecker Team as fast as I can. They should be back before Steel. So, but you better get a move on." And he turns to comms and he starts talking into the comms, trying to get a report from the two away teams as you head out the door. And so, my question for you is, will you try and enter from the compound or enter from the sewers?
Okay. You see, I feel like if I enter through the sewers, they'll just bring attention to the sewers, which will immediately negate one of our potential escape routes. And we might need that. So I don't think I'm going to enter through the sewers because I'm just one man.
I'm just
Or
one
might.
man, but you can be an entire army.
No, I can't. Let's see. Or I could use the sewers because I'm just one man and I need so there's two sides to that. Freaking heck, dude. We're gonna go with a solid. Oh, yeah. I think I'm gonna go through the sewer.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's final decision.
Thinky boy.
Okay, cool. Thank you, boy. Okay, so you enter through one of the sewer grates that's closer, so that way you don't have as much of a walk, but it's pretty easy. You don't lose your connection. You can follow the tunnels through fairly easily. You don't run into any problems other than having to backtrack once or twice just to make sure that you're going the right way. And yeah, you are approaching the compound. And now we're back to Narsor, who is still inside his mirror box. What are you going to do? And we'll get to Ophelia and the crew out there in a second.
Narsor is going to. He is basically fuming, but he's gonna just look at the Inquisitor and go, "What you want?" And there's like a little bit of a growl at the end there.
It's quite simple, really. Doesn't take a whole lot of thinking. I want you
And he holds out his hand.
to join the winning side. I want you to, more importantly, be able to avenge the death of the ones you loved. And more importantly than that, I can help you do that. I can lead you on the path to destruction of your enemies.
And he stands there in the mirrored box with his hand outstretched. I'm gonna
Narth?
kind of hold that thought. You can go ahead and say it, but at this point, the way you're gonna break out is a weird roll. Okay, that's however you choose to go about breaking out, because there's kind of a specific way you have to do it. I'll let you figure that out, but it's gonna require a weird roll.
Before I do whatever role I do, Narsor is gonna say, "But Buckethead's Guild family, you're Buckethead?"
No, 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 no. Do you see me wearing one of those silly things? I think not. That is child's play pawns in a much bigger game, and we, sir, we are the knights. We are important pieces in this game.
Then what are you?
He smiles and he says,
I am one of you. I too was hunted by the Empire, and then they extended an offer to help me destroy those that hurt the ones that I loved, and of course, like any sensible person, I chose to join them. And so, while some people may think of me a buckethead, I think of myself as a rebel fighting for the right cause.
I'll do my role now.
Sor's like, alright, I had enough of this shit.
13.
Okay. Do you say anything as he says what he says? Or after he says what he says?
Narsor will just look at him and say, "I will kill every last Buckethead."
And what does he do?
I'd like to think that he'd take the Inquisitor's hand, but he'd pull the Inquisitor in to grab his throat. Like, take his hand, yank him close, and just grab him by the neck. And I will protect all of my friends and family.
Narsor, as you grab on to the Inquisitor's throat and say that, you grab his head with your other hand and you just run at the mirror wall of the box, using him as a battering ram to smash through the glass structure. And as he goes flying backwards as you let go, he too, in real life, goes flying backwards, sparks flying from his fingertips where he was maintaining touch with your forehead, and he goes flying back through the hole that he originally had thrown you through. Before you go chasing down the Inquisitor, he turns to Ophelia and B1 and says, "Protect child, run!" And he he runs, he jumps through the hole, and you begin battling it out with the Inquisitor. He ignites his lightsaber and swings at you, but right before the blade makes contact with your head, you feel a solid object in your hand, and you're surprised when a lightsaber of your own ignites and catches the red blade before it strikes you. The battle ensuing is like fireworks going off in the powerless room. And it all ends with a large force explosion knocking the floor out from beneath you. And as the battle rages on in this new sub-level that you have quite literally discovered on the fly, you move through the level as debris from the second story of the compound comes falling down on top of you. Ophelia and B1 and Dobrax and Jack all move kind of in shock and awe to the new crater that's been created in the compound, listening to the sounds of lightsaber combat clashing in the background. The the four of you now escorting the child, because Ophelia, now you know, like you have sensed the force within this child. You are now looking down the hole where the battle had raged, and you are contemplating now, do we try to run out the main entrance of the compound that's now locked down, or do you follow Narsor into the basement in the hopes that it leads to someplace better than up here?
Well, if there are no active threats on this level right now, Ophelia's gonna keep the kid with her and like on the main level and not go to the basement.
Attention all ORSF personnel. Please remain calm as the compound is now under lockdown threat level 3. Imperial personnel are on their way now. Please remain calm and make your way to the nearest safe zone.
Ophelia looks at the kid and the violence has escalated. Ophelia looks at the kid and she actually, I mean, not that Ophelia is that tall, but she sort of squats down so she's at this kid's level, and she looks him in the eye and she just asks him, "Do you know where the safe zone is?"
He shakes his head, no. And I will add that if you and Narsor, like especially Narsor of all people, who is like not in tune with his force sensitivity at all, if you and Narsor were able to pick up on this kid's force sensitivity, like the flare up, whatever it was that caused it, you can be doggone sure that the Inquisitor picked up on it. So either that Inquisitor needs to die, or you need to get that kid out of there until you can be sure that he's safe.
Yeah. So, if he doesn't know where the safe zone is, Ophelia is going to look at B1 and she is going to give him this look of like, just, I mean, she is so dead serious that, like, if looks could kill, she might be killing B1. And she says,
That's bad.
"You protect him. I'm going down."
Roger, Roger.
And she turns back to the kid and she kind of squats down again. And it's kind of interesting how her face just absolutely melts looking at this kid. Like, she looked like she was about to kill B1 and now she's like damn it. And now she is just looking like she would die for this kid. And she says to him, "You stay with the droid. You're going to be safe. Don't run off, okay?"
And the kid nods. And as you jump into the hole, B1, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna follow them, or are we gonna?
Actually, can I go back and say that Ophelia's like, do not follow me.
Nope, too late.
No, he's gonna listen to orders. He's gonna listen
Okay.
to the orders. Are there any dead stormtroopers close by?
Plenty. There are plenty out in the hall. Why?
Okay, first things first. B1's gonna go over to one of the dead stormtroopers, take its gun, and give it to the kid.
Oh no!
Parenting 101.
Oh, no!
That is the first thing he's gonna
Attention,
do.
all ORSF personnel. Imperial units will be here within the next 10 minutes. Please make your way to a safe zone and ensure your safety before the Imperials arrive.
B1's gonna look for the safe zone.
People are starting to come out of the office area that you guys were in now, and you guys stick to the shadows as mothers and fathers come pouring from, or not pouring, but carefully come out from the offices surrounding the place, and they all make their way around the crater, and some of them divert off towards the daycare center.
Oh, no.
And they're all making their way for the weapons room that the mercenaries, the pirates, had jacked into earlier. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start leading the kid over there.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's like the safe zone. That's gonna be B1's guess.
Okay, and you're still just full droid, right? You have no armor or anything on you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, they're gonna be a little sus of a battle droid walking up with a child. Are you sure this is the best course of action? Which, by the way, Dobrax, wanting his lightsaber back, now that he has kind of regained consciousness and asked Dobrax what the heck he was thinking, has now jumped in the hole and run after Ophelia and Dobrax, or not Dobrax, Narsor, and Dobrax is now just kind of looking between you and the kid and the rest of the group, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Is Dobrax? Dobrax is not here right now, right?
No, he is
Yeah.
not. I'm kind of.
B1's gonna look at Dobrax and be like, protect the child.
Oh!
Dobrax is gonna shrug and nod and say, "Okay, well then, that's the best way. All of the Jedi are down there. Let's go this way."
No. You know what? B1 trusts his judgment.
No, in all seriousness, Dobrax's answer is going to be more correlated with what Narsor said. And since like Dobrax and Jack, Dobrax was probably a little bit more attuned to it too, just because of all the voices in his head. That he knows the child is force sensitive, and he knows that the safe zone is not where Ophelia wanted that kid. So, or rather, she wanted him in a safe zone, but not an
That
imperial
wasn't the safe zone.
not an imperial occupied safe zone, a different kind of safe zone. And so he knows that, or he guesses that the best way to get out is down and through. So you guys take the kid and you go down. Now I'm going to offer this to you guys. So, Narsor takes the battle into a storage room with the Inquisitor and is just, like, it's just like forces constantly pulsating off of you like waves, and it's like visibly the rage within you is visibly like moving crates and objects away from you, and whenever you clash, it's like a miniature explosion happens and it knocks papers and crates and stuff flying. And as Ophelia and Jack and Dobrax and B1 peer around the corner, you guys hear something behind you in this kind of main room. You hear a rattling noise, and you turn around and you see a grate in the floor rattling, popping up and sliding over, and from the hole in the floor appears one Gelmore Gray, his shoulders barely fitting through the hole in the floor.
Come here often?